2 minutes are getting tougher. Mr. Kanachi, question number 5. List 2 specific plans to lower our national debt. State your position on illegal immigration.
First thing we need to do is we have to balance our budget without deficit spending, because we have to stop accumulating debt. I would never have voted for the debt ceiling if I was in Washington. I'd say enough is enough. The whole purpose of the debt ceiling was to limit spending, figure out how to live within our, not just within our means, but within our borrowing capability. Next thing we need to do is we have to cut repressive taxes. Every single time it's worked, whether it's Kennedy, Reagan, or Bush, revenue has increased. Revenue increased double over Bush's 8 years in the White House. If we can cap spending, we can use that revenue to pay off our national debt. Regarding illegal immigration, we have to stop illegal immigration. And to do that, we have to first of all secure a border. That's a no-brainer. But the biggest thing is we have to eliminate federal benefits that are paid to illegals. It's ludicrous that illegals can come over here and they can get food stamps, they can get housing, health care, education. We have to stop that. The other thing is, as soon as we discover an illegal, whether they're crossing the border or whether we find them in the normal day-to-day activities, we have to deport them because they're illegal, they don't belong here. If they come over a second time, then what we should do is we should put them in prison, because there has to be some serious detriment so that people don't come across our border illegally. The other thing is the 14th Amendment is being misapplied. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as an anchor baby. Because in order to have jurisdiction conveyed upon your child, you have to be under the jurisdiction of the United States. And illegal aliens are not under the jurisdiction of the United States. So anchor babies are a fallacy. Legal immigration is extremely beneficial, and anyone who wants to come to the United States, celebrate our American values, assimilate into society, that is all very, very good. So thank you very much.
Mr. Durant, question number 5. List 2 specific plans to lower our national debt. State your position on illegal immigration.
To lower our national debt, I think you've heard it up here before, cut cap balance. We have to reform our tax code, because if you really want to lower the debt, you've really got to get economic growth going again. So we need a fair, flat, simple, and competitive tax. You ought to be able to fill out your taxes on a postcard, get it done, send it in, and focus on creating jobs and building your business and building your families and communities. We also have to stop picking winners and losers. We have just seen the Obama administration, and by the way, tomorrow they're even pushing out more of these contracts to try to go and create more green jobs that are really to reward political friends. When you're holding up, here you have an effort to bring oil from Alberta, Canada, all the way down to Houston, Texas with the pipeline, and not one dime, nobody's asking for any federal tax dollars. They're doing it all with private investors. If it works in the marketplace, it works for all people. If you want to reduce the deficit, then stop picking winners and losers and let the market decide who provides the best value and uses their own money. We don't bail out Wall Street. You want to cut the deficit? Don't bail out Wall Street and send that money to Paris, to New York, to China, because Wall Street supposedly made a mistake. They make a mistake, you want to cut the deficit, then let them bear the consequences of their own mistakes. Isn't that what we tell our children? At the end of the day, we can reduce our deficit. Oh, let me quickly about immigration, I just saw my time. It's illegal, secure the borders, teach English, learn the Constitution in English, and be grateful to come to America.
Mr. Durant, you're right back up again. Question number 6. How do you
people a break?
Question number 6. How do you plan to communicate and gather information from your constituents?
That's a great question. Frankly, the genius of America is to come out into every village, hamlet, and town and just listen. It's just to listen. The wonderful thing about the Tea Party movement is America is now listening. And it's because ordinary men and women took to the streets, gathered people together, used email and all these other wonderful tools of communication, and I will listen, but I want to also share one other thing with you. I would ask you to read Edmund Burke's letters to the sheriffs at Bristol. It's a wonderful description of the theory of representation. My first responsibility is to the Constitution of the United States. If all the people were saying to me to do something that was contrary to that Constitution, I will follow the Constitution and not listen in that sense. But I think we have a very unique opportunity to be a country as our founders intended, to be a country that is truly a city sitting on a hill, of limited government that trusts people to keep more of what they earn to be great. And in listening to people and all their stories of success to teach the next generation that freedom now and freedom works. God bless you.
Mr. Glenn, question number 6. How do you plan to communicate and gather information from your constituents?
Well, guys, with the wonders of modern technology, when it works, my internet was down 2.5 hours this afternoon, but it usually works. And with the internet and with video streaming, there's no excuse for somebody in Washington, D.C. not to be able to be in close contact and close communication with the people who put them in office. And one thing that I would ask you guys, because with experience over 30 years of dealing with politicians, if you get a good person in office, you have an obligation to keep the heat and the pressure on your friends. Because human nature being what it is, I've seen good people who go with the best of intentions chewed up by the system. Because the folks that helped get them in office thought, well, we can trust so-and-so, so we'll just spend our time hassling the people in the middle, the squishes, and the people on the other side. Your people who share your values in the United States Congress need you to back them up, to give them that counterweight against all the pressure that they get from the other side. And my observation over the course of 30 years is about 9 out of 10 times even the best folks will crumble once in a while. I was a county commissioner. I like to think that I was one of those 1 out of 10 that came out the same guy that I went into office. 2 years ago, whenever it was, April 2009, I was one of the main speakers at the first Tea Party rally in Midland, Michigan. Local newspaper said it was the biggest rally in the county's history. And the very next night, there were 600 people on the steps of the county courthouse. Very next night, I went to the Midland County Republican Party. They had Jack Hogendijk in as a guest speaker, and because of that, had a bigger crowd than usual and had 60. And the amazing thing to me was there was no overlap. One group seemed to have no knowledge of the other. Our Republican nominee has to be somebody who shares Tea Party principles, who is not ashamed of being associated with the Tea Party. And as a Tea Partier, I appreciate your accepting my application for membership in the Tea Party caucus of the United States Senate. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hoekstra,